Hey guys, hang tight. We'll be going live here in a second. I'm just kind of getting the back end of things all set up. And it's not going to be another 4 minutes before we go live. So just give me 1 second. Almost finished setting things up here and we'll go live. How's everybody doing this Sunday? We officially have 20,000 subscribers. Yeah, excuse me. I'm still kind of getting things set up back over here. But we're going to go live, celebrate the fact that we have 20K subscribers. It's all thanks to you guys. We'll do a little bit of an update on the project, see what you have going on with your project as well. So let's get this party started and we'll have ourselves some fun. Hey, I hope everybody is doing well this Sunday. Oh, it's afternoon for us here. It's 2:32 Central Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. Tried to go live a little earlier this week, but work was just busy. And as far as like a update on the car and all that stuff, we're just kind of finishing things off. Really, it's the car's been running well. Just trying to take care of some heat issues. As if you've seen the most recent video that I posted, essentially we're generating some heat under the hood with the turbo, the manifold, and all that stuff. So if you haven't seen the video, go check it out. It's just kind of a real quick, brief update. I mean, that's really up to date as it is now. But I do look at all your comments, read them all. Scarlett! Sorry, my daughter is here and she's watching some stuff in the next room. Anyways, what's up, dude? You come to, hold on 1 second, my brother's here. You come to get that phone?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. It died, so I was gonna run out there and give you that phone, but it's monsooning outside.
As soon as I pull up, that dark cloud just follows me.
Dude, I'm telling you. But I'm just doing this live thing real quick, talking to the peeps, unless you want to have a seat and pull up.
No, I didn't do my hair today. Sorry.
You didn't do your hair today? Okay. But yeah, so 20,000 subscribers. We're almost at the point where we're going to take the car on the dyno. We've got to, you have to excuse me, it's one of the things about doing a live, it is live, there's a lot of editing and stuff that goes into these videos. But what I was getting at is we do need to address some of the under the hood stuff, which I'm going to wrap the exhaust manifold. I did have someone that mentioned, it was like, hey, why not go ahead and ceramic coat the turbo manifold, which is fine and all. I think I might just try wrapping it for now, just to kind of get things going, and then doing a ceramic coating will be something we can do in the future. I'm just excited to get it on the dyno and see what kind of power numbers it puts down, get the thing properly tuned, and then take it to the track and start having a little bit of fun with it and do some street stuff. There's someone down the way that has a business that has a Corvette. I kind of want to pair it up with him, see how that goes. And for the most part, it's just little things, really. We're going to wrap the exhaust manifold. There's some plastic, or not, there's wires. It's essentially like the the VVT solenoid wires that are somewhat close to it, and then we have our air conditioning compressor there. The wires didn't necessarily melt. It's just like all the plastic coverings and crap that we got to button up. And then we need to situate the cold air intake. It's really not a true proper cold air intake at this moment, so we're going to build some sort of shield and whatnot. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to get the shield accomplished before we go to the dyno, but ideally that'd be great. Just trying to catch some of these. I do know the track here in Houston is technically it's supposed to close. I think it's supposed to already be closed at the end of this month, but I think they're still keeping it open for like test and tunes and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's just necessarily closed for like NHRA and bigger events. So I'll have to look into that. Otherwise, I'll have to find another quarter-mile track. And even the Baytown track for Houston isn't necessarily that close to Houston. You know, it's definitely out of town. But everything's going well. For the most part, work's been kind of keeping me busy, and we're wrapping up a lot of these small things. I need to install my watt box. Oh, by the way, if any of you guys have a wiring diagram for the clutch pedal, as far as I just need to know what wire it is that gives it the signal as to like 0 to 100%. I need to figure that stuff out. Haven't really been able to find anything online, but I mean, for the most part, that's it. Just kind of been having some fun with it, and we'll go over to the chat and we'll see what you guys have been up to. We'll say hello. I know one of the first comments was from Mr. Arnua Man. I guess that's how you say it. It says hello. Well, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Two strokes, I'm done. Let's go. I like that channel name. Let's see what else. Daniel Degg says yellow. I agree with you, buddy. And let's see what else we got going on over here. Oh, that's me saying hang tight. Am I a Lone Ranger in here? I don't think so. I think a lot of people are just kind of waiting for things to get going. Who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? Daniel did say, can't wait to see the dyno results. I can't wait either. Man, it's been a long process, but we're so close, and it feels like we're there. And then there's all these little small things. I want to make sure that we have everything all just sorted out mechanically and all that, and it just kind of be where it needs to be before we take it to the dyno. There's other little small things like a muffler that I'm going to put on it. It's not necessarily a muffler, it's a straight through Flowmaster FX kind of thing. So we got that to do. As much as it's not going to tame it down too much, but my goal really is to kind of get some of the rasp out, maybe get a little bit of a lower tone, if possible, out of the car. So just little things like that. Cliff Elmore says, hello, everyone. How you doing, Cliff? FA, it's lit. I imagine that's about, I don't know if that's about the project or the fact that we're going live, but I appreciate the comment and for you tuning in. I'm building a 04 Ram with a 392 stroker, forged internals. Still got to get a GT35 or GT35 turbos. I think that's awesome. Sounds like a really fun project. I recently saw an episode on Engine Masters with it was a couple of the generations, the earlier generation, and then I think they call the later generation of the Dodge kind of Chrysler engines, the Eagle heads and all that stuff. It was very interesting to watch. I enjoy watching that show and also learn quite a bit off of that show. Like, one of the things I did learn was the fact that they took the same exact cylinder heads. One of them were CNC ported, and one of them were just as cast. Naturally aspirated, it made about a 30 to 35 horsepower difference, but once they threw boost at it, it made little to no difference at all, which was quite eye-opening. It made maybe 5 horsepower more with the ported heads with boost, so this kind of really opened my mind up to the fact that, you know, they don't necessarily, the cylinder head doesn't necessarily have to be port and polished and all that stuff, but you know, if you're doing maximum effort kind of thing, where perhaps you're in a class where you're trying to get every little ounce of power out of it, then yeah, it would be a good idea. But I did kind of notice on the cruise that it was with the ported heads and it matched and all that stuff, it was a little bit of a turd down low. I mean, it was quite a bit of a turd initially. So the way it is with just kind of cleaning the casting up, it just is doing really well. So FA's kind of throwing the party, whatever you call those things. I appreciate that. And our new, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm awful with names, but thank you. I appreciate it. And he also says perfect intro, so I do appreciate that as well. Cliff says, no worries, love the real world problems and solutions that occur. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it. You know, really what I'm doing here is just kind of sharing what it is I'm doing project-wise. Just so happens to be what we're doing right now is the cruise. Man, when YouTube first was a thing, it was really just kind of a way to share videos with friends and family before it turned into this whole thing where you could monetize it and all this stuff. And once I figured that out and actually had a project to post car-wise, you know, started taking it more seriously, obviously. And man, it's been awesome. You guys watching the videos and all that, we constantly getting hit up by sponsors as small as the items that they want to swing our way. There's a lot of things I've turned down. There's a couple things I still need to make videos on, and we'll get into that. I just, you know, a lot of times I just kind of hate cramming that stuff down people's throat. But if it's something that will truly benefit not only me but you guys, and I think it's worthwhile and relevant to what we're doing here on the channel, then you know, I'm more than happy to kind of share that. And if they want to swing something my way that I can actually use, then cool. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for someone to swing a lift my way. Someone swing a lift my way. John Briner, why don't you make a cold air? I imagine you're trying to say cold air box. Yeah. And I have. I've actually messed around with that. Check out some of my earlier episodes. I just kind of drew it up in like a 3D program, plotted it out, was actually trying to use the stock base, and which was a little too tall. I might revisit that as far as the intake goes and keeping the temps down. And the stock intake did come with it's kind of like a funnel that goes from the front of the car, and it draws the cooler air from outside to the box. It is a pretty restrictive, but I think I might use that a little bit or parts of it to kind of get some cooler air towards the intake, and we'll build a box. You know, all these things take time. But it's something I've tried. But once we actually got into putting the engine in the car and you know, tuning the thing, now we can revisit it again. So it's I put it on the back burner for a while until we got everything going. But we'll definitely touch on that here very soon. So how much horsepower does it have? I don't know yet. You know, we'll find that out here soon. Theoretically, with everything that's done to the car, I wouldn't. I don't see why it wouldn't make well into 300 horsepower, quite potentially the 400 horsepower range, but you know, it's all speculation until we actually get it on a dyno. I would love to see as much as I can with all the work that we've done between the intake, you know, just kind of cleaning up the cylinder head a little bit. It does have 10.5 to 1 compression. It's a stock compression, all forged internals, aside from the crankshaft, the rods, the pistons. So we'll find that out soon. And I don't know, I would love to be surprised and see close to 500, but you know, I'm not going to hold my breath. It would be cool. It's kind of unknown territory, to be honest. But I'm just as interested as you guys are because, I don't know, I'm loving the platform. Really simple engine. Very similar to, you know, some of the Honda platforms or even some of the Toyota stuff out there, with it being, I guess, a good way to explain it. I've watched plenty of videos. I imagine you guys have as well. The construction of it's very similar to a 2JZ. Obviously, 2 less cylinders, smaller displacement, but it's a flat tappet overhead camshafts, and the block is built fairly similar. It's got cylinder supports built into it, steel block, aluminum head, dual overhead cam. I know we have locked out the VVT and all that stuff, which, speaking of down the road, it would be nice to get some pistons that had the valve reliefs deeper so we can take advantage of that VVT. But for now, we're just trying to make things work the way it is without, you know, I've already spent good money on those pistons, so just trying to get things to work as it is. And there's plenty of strong engines out there that have all that crap locked out. It'd be nice if we had at least had some adjustability to it, but it is what it is for now, and we'll see what it does. Let's see what we got here. Your car is sick. Thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's, you know, it's a fun project for what it is. It's definitely gone from a very boring daily driver to something a lot more exciting to just kind of drive around and occasionally just really put the thing in the boost. It's currently set at 15 PSI and it's a lot of fun. So, and I'll try and get some more of that stuff as well, just driving around stuff. See if we can't creep up on some people in Mexico, of course, because we want to be responsible. But for the most part, I would like to take it to like a test and tune kind of thing. So I don't want to get in trouble on the street and have the thing taken away in Mexico. You know what I mean? Good job for the 20K sub. What's your horsepower goal? I appreciate that. Ideally, I know I've kind of touched on this, just kind of saying what I think it'll do. I would love to see close to the 500 horsepower out of it, but it is 1.8, and you know, theoretically, if you're tripling atmospheric pressure, at least with what I have, you know, you can expect theoretically, this doesn't always hold true and isn't always real world. You know, if it's 132 or 38 horsepower from the factory, you know, if we tripled that because of, you know, increasing, adding boost, increasing the atmospheric pressure twice, theoretically we should see 3 times the horsepower. But I mean, we do have other upgrades such as larger camshafts. The intake is really built for top end stuff, and a little port work, nothing too crazy. So we'll see. It'll be a lot of fun to see, and I can't necessarily say I'll be disappointed because the way it sits, it's a lot of fun. John says y'all watched it, but you didn't finish it, and you said you was going to come back. Yeah, I'll definitely come back and revisit that. So just hang tight. All these things take time. I do have a business that I run, in which it's a t-shirt business, and I've got 3 kids, so try not to spread myself too thin, and I do what I can when I can, kind of thing. Can't wait to hear how you will say my last name. No one can pronounce it good. Cianciardo. I don't know. That's the best I'm going to be able to do. You can have fun trying to pronounce mine as well. Chevalier. So it's something that not a lot of people get, but hey, that's the fun of different names, right? I have watched every cruise episode. Cool, man. Thanks, John Briner, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. It's it's people like yourself that has made this project possible. When I first started it, it was when COVID hit, and essentially the entire world was kind of shut down, or did shut down, and I purchased the car with the intentions of actually boosting it. I've had a 1.4 cruise in the past. Never really had any intentions of doing anything with that 1.4. Had sold it, did a El Camino project, which that was a lot of fun. Didn't really film a whole lot of that. Again, going back to not really realizing like what the capabilities of what you're able to achieve on YouTube, sharing all that, monetization and whatnot. So long story short, COVID hit. I'm like, okay, I think now's a good time to. It's been a while since I did a car project. Let's boost the cruise that I did get in to do exactly what we're doing now, and just kind of use what little money I did have. I think I spent maybe northward of it was like $800 on hardware, and then another $500 or so for the tuning software. And thankfully, some of those videos did pretty well, and it's helped the fun buying little things here and there. So I can't necessarily say that my pockets are all that deep, but you guys watching and showing your support has allowed me to continue to make these videos and have a fun car project. Let's see, John, thank you, buddy. Thanks for the thumbs up. What's 9 plus 10? It's 15, of course. Everybody knows. Thank you for subscribing, Gamer Off All Games. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got here. Did you weld your turbo manifold yourself? Yes, I did. AMA, or to AMA? I don't know. But I did. I learned how to weld I'd say learned how to weld when I was in high school. I took some of these manufacturing system classes, every shop class I could possibly take, whether it's woodworking, something with steel and all that. I think that really helped to kind of hone in my skills as a craftsman, crafting things with my hand. My dad's always been into hot rods as well as my brothers and family and friends. So I remember some of my earliest memories are with my dad, and he was building a 383 stroker for his truck, and he was like, come over here, help me pop in some of these pistons. And I think I was 7 or 8 at that time. He still has that same engine in his truck. It needs a rebuild, but he's got a lot of cool stuff, cool cars. 71 C10 pickup, 69 Nova, 67 Chevelle, 1941 Oldsmobile. He's done a lot of cool stuff. But I essentially learned how to weld just school Dad got me into the whole car stuff, and then I really kind of honed in. I wouldn't say honed in, but kind of had a crash course in welding when it came to cheap welders trying to make things work on a budget when I did the V8 bug project. So there was a lot of welding involved in that, and I still can't say that I'm the best welder in the world. Sometimes I can make the welds look pretty, but I do know when I weld something up, it's welded up, and I'm not necessarily trying to make the prettiest thing. So I encourage you guys to go out there, and if you're interested in making parts for your own car, these days, like that Jegs welder that I have, man, for the $200 that I paid for it, the thing welds great. I wish I would have spent a little more money and got their AC version so I could do aluminum. But luckily I do have a friend that loaned me his welder, and he's like, "Hey Matt, I'm wanting to get my welder back," because he's wanting to do like some sort of turbo barbecue pit, which I think is cool. He's like, "You got a turbo?" I was like, "Yep." I don't think I've shared this yet, but so there's a mechanic down the way, down from where my shop is at, and he found this thing in the garbage, because there's this wholesaler across from us that buys stuff like returns from Amazon, and then they essentially sell the stuff. I think they call their business Big Lots or whatever, but this is I believe this is a turbo off of a diesel. It's a twin scroll. It's got a huge exhaust turbine. The inlet's a little on the small side, but it's made in Canada. I don't know if you can see that, but it's made in Canada. I found the company. These things are about $1,000. I'm like, dude. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's a journal style turbo. But anyways, I told him he can have that because I don't have anything I can necessarily put that on. I imagine it's probably good for 600 horsepower or so. Just, turbo diesel stuff. And so it's a huge flange on it. It's just too big for anything I have going on at the moment. So he's going to use that on a turbocharged barbecue pit, apparently. Which I think is kind of crazy because it makes a really big fire, but to each his own, right? Let's see what else we got here. I have a problem with getting higher octane. I'm stuck with 93. There's nothing wrong with 93. I mean, that's what we have here. Luckily, we do have E85 nearby. It's not at every corner. You kind of have to know where your E85 stations are at. But, 93 will get you pretty far. As far as knock and all that stuff, certainly E85 will be a little bit better, but you can do a lot with 93, so I wouldn't be too discouraged by the fact that you have 93 or even 91. Going back to the whole Engine Masters thing, as far as timing and all that stuff, they did a video where they used, you can look it up on YouTube after the live, of course. They use 87, 89, 91, E85, oxygenated gas, methanol, everything, race gas, just everything you could possibly imagine. And the engine still liked the same amount of timing. There really was no power difference between 87, 89, 91 in their case. The race gas, because they were in more ideal conditions, because they're in a dyno cell, obviously, in which the engine's not stuffed under the hood of a car where you've got temps building up and all that stuff. It's more controlled. But it's still like the same amount of timing, and the only fuel really, aside from methanol, it made some more power. E85 seemed to have the best gains, but don't be discouraged by the fact that all you have is 93. I just run with it, and then if you want to boost your car, just boost it, and just make sure it's not detonating the crap out of it, and just have fun with it. Mod Everything, how you doing, buddy? Congrats on the 20K. Looking forward to seeing what it puts down on a dyno. I am as well, and it, I was hoping to do it a couple weeks ago, but I think I was getting a little too excited about it and rushing things. I probably would have went up there, rushed things, and foresaw some of the things were, I shared with you guys, which is the heat and all that, and I don't want to waste my time going over there, getting the thing strapped to the dyno, and then, we're having to limit our dyno session due to under hood temps and all that stuff. So we'll do the best we can to address all that stuff, and we'll have some fun with it. So I'm just as anxious as you guys are. Literally, I'll drop the thing off now and have them tune it, but trying to be patient and get some of these things done, and it just takes time. So I appreciate that. Thanks, John. Thanks for the thumbs up. Love your Chevy build. Thank you. I appreciate it. I assume we're talking about the Cruze, because I have done the El Camino and then the Chevy powered V8 Bug, which was a cool thing. I still want to buy that damn thing back. I wish I would have never sold it. Hard times and needed the money, but who knows? Maybe it'll go up for sale again. I do know who sold it last time, and I'm sure I can get their information back, but they were trying to sell it for something crazy like 20 grand. When I built it, I didn't put more than 8 grand into it. So, I could always do another one, but it would be nice to have that car back. But, it is what it is. Hey, I'm the one with the 1.4 Cruze. Good to have you, buddy. So the 1.4 Cruze, I had mentioned that I had one before. And man, you guys are lucky to have so many supporting mods already on the market, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that because it did come with the turbo, it's like, people would get them and want to hop them up. So hopefully we can get some more traction going on this 1.8 stuff and see that market grow a little bit. Whether I'm I'm not sure I necessarily am going to start a company selling stuff because of what's going on with the EPA. Thought about it, but I'd hate to be hit with fines and it just completely ruin what I have going on in my life. So, but thanks, John. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's definitely been a grind and a hustle, and some of the videos that have gotten the attention that they have to get the channel to 20K is, it blows my mind, and I'm very thankful. And I know there have been a lot of you guys who are like, oh yeah, the channel's going to blow up and all that stuff, and which I think is cool. I think it's really cool. But at the same time, I'm happy with where things currently are, because I'm still able to chat with all you guys. You know what I mean? Like if the channel had grown to, let's even say 200K, the chats would just be flying by. It'd be hard for me to get to every single comment. And so I'm enjoying it where we're at right now. And then we'll just see where things go. It's all part of the adventure. I think it's time to boost my 07 Cobalt with 210K miles. I don't see why not. Just because it has 210K miles doesn't mean that it's ready to come apart anytime soon. If nothing else, you could just, I personally wouldn't do anything to it aside from maybe just pull the pistons, gap the rings, put it back together, and boost away. Because or maybe even leave it as it is. Just throw some boost at it. I just wouldn't go too crazy with it with the stock ring gap from the factory, because that's going to be the biggest problem is the heat that's generated because of boost. Those ring gaps want to close up, and if they end up butting together, they can seize in the cylinder, snap a ring land off and all that. That tends to be the biggest problem. Even with while I was waiting to get the built engine back in, I just got a stock cheap motor, opened up the ring gap, tossed it in there, and we were running the same amount of boost, 13 to 14 pounds of boost, and of course with some rods, but man, you reuse the stock bearings. I have no idea how many miles were on that engine. So that's just the biggest thing to look out for is ring gap, and then just send it and have fun. It's not as easy as it looks, but I'll get there. But I do want to make my own stuff. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. It's not as easy as it looks. There's a lot of trial and error. You're going to make mistakes, but that's also part of learning. You're gonna learn the most from mistakes, and I've made a lot of them. I've shared a lot of mistakes that I've made, and all you can do is learn from them and just carry on. Yeah, I figured that's what you're talking about was the welding there, Craig. I saw that, Matt. Not a big difference. I forget what we were talking about at that point. I watched that Engine Masters episode, and I think that was about the boost and ported versus just as is cast. Really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. And we're talking in like the 600 horsepower range, I believe it was, somewhere around there. So definitely eye-opening. On the street, 93 is more than adequate. I'd agree with Craig. 20K and growing. This is true. It's weird that one of the videos that's been doing really well was the video install of the radio. I did not see that one doing really well, but I mean, it's well over 100,000 views at this point, and I'm just like, mind is blown. It takes just one video like that, and that's why I tend to post whatever I can. Sometimes things tend to blow up that you don't really realize are going to blow up, and it helps to get your channel out into the world, I guess, is the best way to look at it. All right, let's see what else we got here. 3 people watching. Hey, that's cool with me. Whether it's 3 people or 100. How much money into this build yet? It's probably around 5 or 6K. It's not anything crazy. The pistons were the biggest expense. That was how much was it? They were close to $900. The rods at the time I bought them were $200. Bearings, gaskets, and all that crap. Not more than $250. It took about $500 to $550 in supplies to make the turbo manifold. The turbo itself, the GT35, the one that I had actually paid for, it was like $135 at the time. Max Speeding Rods did send me that billet wheel turbo, but performance-wise, their standard GT35 worked just as well. It's really going to be hard to tell any kind of difference by the seat of your pants, unless you got to put it on a dyno. And I do feel like it was building boost from the logs. It was building boost a little sooner. The billet wheel Billet Wheel Turbo was building boost a little sooner. So aside from that, the intake, you could probably just leave the stock intake as is, but it was kind of another thing where it's like we were waiting on the pistons anyway, so why not see what else we can do, in which case I did the intake, and that was probably about $500 in materials, and then the time welding it up. The turbo piping, all that stuff wasn't more than 100. The intercooler was like 89. Fuel system, between the injectors were pretty pricey. I think they were close to 500, and then all the fittings and stuff. Converting it to, if you kept the stock intake manifold and just put injectors in it, then you would pretty much be done there, along with an upgraded fuel pump. That fuel pump, with them installing it and testing it, it was like $75 to test it, and I think the fuel pump was like $220 or something like that. Camshafts, coming back to that, there's $220 to regrind them. So it's just bunch of little small expenses over these past couple of years. It's like, okay, well, this month we've got it in the budget to do the camshafts. There's a couple $100. Next month we'll work on doing something else. So it's been like a little by little kind of thing. Craig says exactly. Can't quite remember what we were talking about that he says exactly. Boost it. I guess about boosting the cobalt. Yeah, just throw some boost at it. Open up the ring gaps, that kind of thing. The rods are weak. Generally, that is one of the areas you want to beef up a little bit, because you don't want to go bending or throwing a rod and tearing everything up. Dreaming big. So I have a question that I haven't been able to figure out. I have 11 Chevy Cruze. My radio won't turn off, and the screen has weird green lines through it. Any ideas? I've tried grounds and wiring harness. I don't know. Was it the Tesla style one, or is it the stock radio? I don't know. For me, with the whole radio stuff, if I install it and it works, generally you're gonna have good luck. But if it's your stock stuff and you're having issues, or if it's the aftermarket one, if it's giving you issues, I'd get a hold of them and say, hey, this unit's not working. See if they can't help you out with the return or help you troubleshoot it. What do you do for a living? Are you a mechanic? No. I'll show you what I do for a living. Let's go to our desktop here. Let's see. So I have a t-shirt, a screen printing t-shirt company, and I also have a YouTube channel for it, in which I do videos on it as well. So this is my other channel, in which that's me right there. I partially teach how to screen print shirts. The machine you see in the background, that's our screen printing press. This is our screen printing shop, and I also use it to do the car stuff. Hi, Maddie. Yes, I'm live. This is my daughter here. But monetizing this channel, make a little bit off of that, which helps pay for the shop here, and then there's little things that I sell on my website, mikeydesigns.com. My name's not Mikey, obviously. My name's Matt. Where Mikey comes from is what my parents used to call me when I was a kid, and Matthew Chevalier Designs or whatever. I don't know. I came up with that name when I was in art school, and so we offer screen printing services, and there's things that I sell, like these little templates and crap like that, which kind of helps fund the business, fund us doing the YouTube stuff for the screen printing stuff. And then there's this other little thing that's screen printing related, in which it, in a nutshell, what it helps do is it helps separate the artwork, so you can essentially print realistic looking shirts like this kind of stuff here. This is kind of a Achilles heel as far as for people getting into screen printing. It's not easy to do this kind of stuff, and we're kind of known for that kind of stuff. So that's what I do for a living. And we also the car channel stuff is starting to slowly become a bigger part as well, so which I'm very grateful for. Let's see what else we got going on here. Italia Opel Corsa OPC B16 LER engine. It's essentially the same engine that's in the 1.8, except for it's 1.6. They do have the boosted version. Hopefully one of these days I'll get around to doing a video about stock stuff that you can use to actually boost the 1.8 stock turbo. I mean, imagine you can boost it up to about 225 horsepower with all stock stuff and make it live quite nicely as is. But very familiar with that stuff. Did a lot of research into it to kind of guide me in what I'm doing with mine. Like the rods are 1.6 rods and all that stuff. Craig says, you never know what catches. Absolutely true. Jay Domino says, I'm watching. I appreciate you watching. Good vibes, says Marcy Deanna. FPV, which is the rest of their name. Thank you, Marcy. I really appreciate you tuning in. Master Cricket says, sup, bro? Sorry I'm late. I was working on the boosted Miata. Cool, man. No, man, if you're out there wrenching, do your thing. And, if you can join in, cool. If not, if you're out there wrenching, man, I'd rather you be out there wrenching. Getting, just working towards your end goal with your project. So, but I do thank you for tuning in. Lighter internals on billet, better for heat resistance and quicker spool. This is absolutely true. I do think that billet wheel impellers are a little heavier, but I don't know. I haven't taken off the billet wheel of either of those turbos because I would throw it out of balance. So I'm curious to see what the difference is, at least when it comes to this max speeding rod stuff, if the cast is lighter or heavier. I do believe generally the general rule of thumb is that the billet stuff is a little heavier because it's forged, so it's a denser piece, but it will be more efficient. So I don't know. I doubt I'll ever get the chance to really dive that deep into it because it would take a lot of money and dyno time to really figure that out. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see how things go. I enjoy the channel. Just can't wait to see this thing in its final form. I've been building engines for years. Love how out of the box this build is. I appreciate it. Things that really kind of catch my attention are the out of the box kind of builds, to be honest. Occasionally I do like to do a build that's not, because it's so simple and it's already proven. You put the thing together and it just works. There's a lot of troubleshooting and research and development when it's come to this project because there's not a lot out there. I think the only thing that I was able to find aside from stock rebuilder bearings and gaskets and all that crap, was just the rods itself. And I was happy to have found, or through research, figured out what rods will work. Aside from that, I mean, everything's had to be made from scratch, and I like that. I like that challenge, and it just just kind of keeps me busy. If this were something that weren't out of the box, this thing probably would have been done a long time ago, and certainly we would have had more content of racing and all that stuff, but it probably wouldn't be near as interesting. In the standpoint of it being out of the box kind of stuff, it would just be white noise, essentially. Could you give me more information about pistons? Because I would love to do the same pistons, but I just have a lot of questions about the JE piston. So you can call JE up. I'm sure they could pull it up. If you go back to my video where I initially got them, I believe I put the model number of the pistons, or it's like a reference number where you can call them up with that number and just say you're wanting pistons for the 1.8 Chevrolet Cruze. They'll be able to pull that up. They're essentially replicas of the stock piston, but they're forged, My only thing is, in the custom world right now, even with our own business, like I made this cap, well, I didn't make this t-shirt, but my point is the custom world right now is a little slower than it has been in the past, for obvious reasons. But I put some on order if that's what you're wanting to do. It probably might take them about the replacement pistons took, those couple of pistons, they took about 3 months. So it didn't take 9 months. That's a good thing. Last time around it took 9 months, but we also put that order in 2020. So I think what they did is they took the order, got half down from me, started the order, and then as soon as the order was finished, they charged the balance off on the card and shipped them out. So go for it. I'm actually working on sending out one of my stock pistons overseas to China to have a set made, because, and it just all kind of goes back to whether or not there's a demand for it. Obviously you're wanting to do it, but I'd have to put an order of at least 10 sets, in other words 40 pistons. But they'll all be sets, and I'd still have to take a set, if I did do a bulk order overseas, take a set, put them in an engine, and just run the crap out of them to make sure they work before I'd be comfortable selling them to you guys or whomever would be interested. Because you screw up an engine with a set of pistons, and it'll cost you. I mean, you can do the cheap junkyard stuff all day long, but there's still time. Time is your most valuable asset. Let's see. When you finish the Cruze, do you have a different vehicle build in the future? Yes, I've been thinking about it. Speaking of run-of-the-mill kind of stuff, I've got a build in mind. There's a few different builds I've kind of been kicking around in my head. I've always loved the 4th gen Camaro. I wanted one when I was a kid. I've just kind of been keeping an eye out for a V6 model that's in decent condition, and ripping that V6 out of there and putting a Vortec 4200, a 6-cylinder. Essentially, it's kind of like it's what they call the Ameribera engine, or I guess the larger displacement 2JZ engine. I think that would be really cool and still would be different. even though the chassis is obviously very kind of cookie cutter Camaro stuff, but I think that would be really cool to do that. My dad, he does have a 69 Nova that, and he's getting old. His health isn't I know you guys probably have heard me give kind of like a status update, but his cancer is in, it's not necessarily in remission, it's just not growing. But he has a 69 Nova that he's wanted painted for so long, and part of me just wants to do like paint that for him and get that small block Chevrolet out of there and put a LS in there with maybe just a single turbo, and get the horsepower up to 600 to 800, somewhere around there. But part of my hesitation about that whole thing is he can't really drive anymore. So I kind of feel like it'd be a little selfish, a little bit. Ah, shit! Excuse me. But stuff that I would like to do, I don't know. They're just cars that kind of are childhood kind of memory kind of stuff. Like first manual vehicle, or one of the first manual vehicles I learned how to drive was a 240Z. But a lot of the cars that I like, they're just, man, they just, the price is just ridiculous unless you buy an absolute turd bucket without a title. Would love to do, before I even did the cruise project, one of the things I wanted to do was almost bought one too. I found a Volkswagen Bug, the classic Beetle. Found one for $300 that had the title. Had nothing in it. I was about to pull the trigger on it, and some guy bought it and then put it back up for sale for $250 because he took all the VINs off of it to put it on his car that he couldn't get registered. And I saw that, and it irritated me so bad because he had like a Volkswagen that was a convertible. And he didn't have he couldn't get it registered, so he stole the VINs from it. And I bitched at him. I was like, hey, dude, you essentially ruined this car. You're probably going to have issues down the line with your current car. Just give me the title to it, and I'll give it a proper home. But anyways, what I was getting at with that was doing a motorcycle swapped VW Beetle. I always thought that was cool. I know there's one person that's done it. I think they have a CBR 1000 engine in there. Things just sound fun. They sound so cool. Not a crazy amount of power, but they just sound so cool. An S10, and this is more of a cookie cutter stuff, but I do like the older 90s kind of just square body S10, and doing a V8 LS swap with turbos. I think that would be fun, pretty easy. There's that V8 Bug that I did essentially was a S10 pickup frame with the V8 swap and a bug body on top of it. I don't know if I want to take on something like another V8 Bug build anytime soon, but anyways, there's some things that have been kind of just brewing around in my head, and we'll get there. For now, I just want to finish this build up, and if the channel continues to grow, we'll take some of that money and do another project, and we'll kind of see what you guys would like to see as well. I've thought about doing a Honda as well, but I'm just like, a lot of people are doing those, and I don't know. Sometimes it is kind of nice just to have a project where things work. In other words, there's plenty of stuff off the shelf to choose from. That's cool. Love this channel even more. don't get overwhelmed. Just keep grinding, and the car will speak for itself. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I agree 100%. Sick, bro. So you can do some rad vinyls then, right? Yes, I actually can. We do vinyl as well, like sticker vinyl. We do vinyl for shirts and stuff like that. I've done vehicles, company vehicles and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm just, when it comes to, I don't like the idea of offering too much, because then I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. It just kind of simplifies things when we're doing t-shirts and hats and stuff like that. But occasionally I'll take on the sticker thing. I might do stickers for the channel for different vehicles and whatnot, and see how that goes. If it helps support the channel, then cool. What programs are you using for the live? I am using Ecamm Live. So let me go to a desktop shot real quick. I'm not sure if you can, yeah, you can see it right up here where it says Ecamm Live. I've tried different softwares in the past. I've used OBS Studio. I've used StreamYard, a handful of different ones, and so far this one, Ecamm Live, is really good, really easy. I can put your comments up on the screen, and you can put whatever graphics you want in there. There's really no limitations. And rather than having to go to the back end of YouTube, everything is just like right here. Got a nice console going here so I can read y'all's comments. So that's what I like to use, Ecamm Live. Love the channel, very informative. Dream big, dreaming big. I appreciate that. I'm going to try and blaze through these because we are getting at an hour. And I do have the kiddos here with me, so let's see. Can't remember, but did you have the crank rebalance to the rods and pistons? I did. Yes, I did. Took all that in at once and they balanced it. Yo, love your videos, brother. I appreciate that. Troopa Gaming. If you guys are watching, make sure you hit that like button. Yes, I appreciate that. Cliff, give this, give a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Anytime you're watching a video, if you can give a thumb up, leave a comment. That always helps with the algorithm and it continuing to show up in your feed. Congrats on 20K. Keep it up. Love watching you tackle the crews and all the odd issues that pop up. Stay knocking them down one at a time. I appreciate that. Today's project guide. I have a X18 XER 1.8 VVT engine, looking to do something like, I imagine something like, but I live in the UK, so I imagine you're trying to say something like what I'm doing here. Yeah, I just go for it, I've vlogged every little bit as much as I can. So go back and check out some of those videos if you're interested. Do what's working for me and don't do what is not working. Curious, what are your thoughts on the max speeding rods turbo versus the eBay models out there? I see Boosted Boys kill it with them at 50 psi. Max speeding rods is essentially, I bought their stuff before they even jumped on board and were sending stuff my way, and I've had good luck with their stuff. Haven't had really any issues. The Boosted Boys are using, even though they're sold on eBay, you're going to have different manufacturers. A lot of them come from very similar companies overseas in China, but I do believe the Boosted Boys are using a ball bearing style turbo. So 50 psi, I'm not sure they're running at 50 psi. I could be wrong, but You know, once you start getting up there to 50 psi, you really. I think they were having back pressure issues once they got up to about 45 psi, and they weren't seeing any more gains. And at that point, you're looking at well over 1,000 wheel horsepower. But you know, I think Chinese manufacturing's come a long way, so I wouldn't be afraid to try some of these more affordable turbos. I would be interested in the manifold you made or whole setup you got going on. Bet it moves and it's a sleeper. My style all day. Yes, it definitely does move out. It'll be cool to see what it does in the quarter mile and what dyno numbers it puts down. Yeah, the idea was to, excuse me, man, my throat is itchy. Allergy season for me. It was just monsooning a moment ago. Let me wet my whistle with this here Miller Lite. Jeez. Excuse me, but yeah. The setup I got going on, you know, all custom made, nothing super crazy, nothing you couldn't learn from watching videos out there. I love a car paint video. You know, I have some car paint videos. I didn't exactly explain what I was doing, but if you go back and look at some of my older videos, I have quite a few of them of me actually painting that V8 Bug, and man, enjoyed it. I also did the front bumper of the Cruise. I love painting. It's a lot of work, but once you get to the point where you can actually paint, man, I enjoy it. Second, the manifold question. What is the VIN swapping? Yeah, man, that irritated the crap out of me. Hey, Jaybird, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the stream. I'll probably be getting off here in a moment, but I do appreciate you tuning in. I think getting a Cobalt or another Cruise and LS swapping it would be cool. Yeah, you know, LS4, in which that's the front-wheel drive setup. I think that would be cool as well. I know there's a LS swapped Holden Cruise, you know, because the design did come from Holden, but it's I'm not sure it's an LS, but it's a rear-wheel drive conversion, and I like stuff like that. I think that would be really cool and probably wouldn't be too difficult to do. But yeah, so just so many different things that could be done. How you know your Chevrolet AVO turbo from Russia? I didn't know that there's one from Russia, if that's what you're saying, but it probably is the 1.6 version, I imagine. But cool, I'll have to look into it. You know, again, we don't have that stuff over here, so we kind of have to make it up ourselves. Hey Matt, saw your vid on the Tesla style radio for the Cruise. Thinking about doing that for our car. Great job, brother. Very informative videos. Keep grinding. I appreciate that. I'm going to do the reverse camera install, but I'm just kind of working on, you know, that was just kind of a fun thing to do while I was in between doing things to, you know, performance mods and all that stuff. But Shannon and I went on a business trip in Austin, Texas. Bud Light had paid us to go out there and screen print, do like some live screen printing, and we rented this it was a 2020 Nissan Rogue, I believe it was, and it had one of those touch screens. I was like, oh my god, this makes life so much easier because I can see the navigation and all the crap right there on the screen, and we're messing with Spotify, and it just made things so much easier than having to do this. And Shannon's not very good at she's not very good at helping with navigation. Ow. This is Scarlett.
Ow.
What are you hurting? All right, couple more things. Seen that Holden Cruise video with the giant blower? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Racing First is the name of the first turbos they were running. Golly, I need some water. Meticulous told me through Instagram. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. Racing First is the brand name of the turbo. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate it, Craig.
There's nothing saying stuff.
What's that?
There's nothing saying anything.
There's nothing saying anything?
Yes.
Well, anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Won't be long before we need to get these kiddos home. So, 20K. We made it. Hopefully next time we do this will be 50K. And then after that, 100K. But I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, all your support. And I'll have an update on everything as I go along. Hopefully it'll be sometime midweek, just depending on work and life. You know what I mean? So we'll see you guys next time. And peace out with your peace out. Did you want to end it? Did you want to end it, Scarlett?
Dad. I just wanted to make a video.
You just want to make